Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we have Venezia, the all-new legendary Italian heavy cruiser in World of Warships Legends. Shout out to the good old Wargaming. They have given it to me for 2 weeks to kind of give a review on, and well, we're going to go ahead and talk all about it. But before we do, if you like videos like this, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and with all that said, let's just dive on in. Now, first off, how do you get Venezia? For once, one of these highly desirable Bureau projects you don't need to pay for. Good job, Wargaming. Instead, just head on over to the Bureau, select it, and get working on it. You will need the Tier 6 Zara, Tier 7 Amalfi, and Tier 8 Brindisi unlocked and in your port in order to get this ship. You'll have to win a match in each of those within the progression of the Bureau. So if you don't have those ships, but you like what you see today, make sure you go and start grinding the lines because you're going to need it. As far as our build goes, we're running Azur Lane Azara with Makawa and Mimbelli. And this build, well, it's all about that SAP because if you're going to run an Italian cruiser, you might as well run the SAP. If you're not, I feel like there's other cruisers that do better things. Not that SAP is the be all and end all of rounds, but in this case, you know, it does a pretty thing, especially to French space armor. Let's see how this salvo lands. Beautiful 6,000 off of him being fairly angled. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It doesn't need any nerfs. Anyways, as far as our build on Azur Lane Zara goes, we're going to be running Beyond Range in Ardus Intrepidia, which boosts your main battery damage if you fire within 5 seconds of the reload. Fortified, Fixated, and the legendary skill will be fully packed. As far as consumables for Venezia goes, well, you got the damage control party. You have the exhaust smoke generator, which you see right there, has 30 seconds on its duration and a 35-second dispersion time, which still, I think the PC version is better. But anyways, you have the exhaust smoke generator, or if you really find aircraft carriers pesky at legendary tier, you can switch it out for enhanced AA. I don't think you should ever do that, but that option is there. Then you have a catapult fighter and a heal. That heal will give you about 7,300 health back per proc, and you're going to get 3 charges of it, which can be incredibly useful, as you will see us recover from a very brutal hit later in this game using all 3 of those heals. As far as the rest of our build goes, well, it's fairly simple. We are going to be running aiming system mod 1, the steering gears, concealment, then main battery mod 3, and then you do have the option on this vessel to either run HE and AP or swap it out for the good old SAP and AP, which I would really hope is the one that you are choosing to run. Because let's be perfectly honest, if you want to run HE and AP, there are going to be better ships. So let's talk about Venezia. One, she is very strong, but SAP still kind of feels like it has its issues in this game, and you just need to be prepared to deal with that in this ship. Yeah, you have to be ready to deal with, frankly, the Italian cruiser accuracy, where there have been times where I am sub 6-7 kilometers from a destroyer, and I go to fire a broadside, and one shell hits and all of the other ones bracket it. And it feels just like SAP does that, and the other shells wouldn't usually do that. And that could just be, you know, bias taking account, but I just want you to be prepared for that as we take our big old mistake of charging that destroyer. Because, well, SAP is incredibly powerful on destroyers. It will wipe destroyers off the map, and, you know, I have been using Venezia to dev strike some destroyers because it puts them to bed. And it's magical at that. But you just kind of need to be prepared for the worst case scenario. Let's talk about more of these guns. So you have 5 3-barrel 203mm guns, 17.6 kilometer range, and a 18-second reload, 17.9-second reload, which is a very long time. As we see Z-44, he's turning broadside, and he's gone. It's gone. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Max SAP damage. With our build right now, if we proc Aegis in Torpedoes, we're doing 5,868 damage per shell. Multiply that by 15, and you can understand the massive damage numbers that you do have potential for. You will also see we do have torpedoes. We did just fire those off at the Ohio that's been kind of behind that island. You have two 3-barreled 533 millimeter launchers, 71-second reload, doing 13,900 damage and a 13.5 kilometer range at 56 knots. One little weird thing is you are going to notice there is only 3 on each side, which does feel very, very low. And we're going to luck out here and get the permaflood with 1 torpedo on that Ohio, and it's going to pay massive, massive dividends for us. But just be prepared that you probably won't be doing a ton of torpedo damage, though the torpedo launch angles are pretty good on the ship so that it can be used in a brawl. And speaking of a brawl, let's go ahead and talk about the armor, because the armor, pretty okay on Venezia. Okay, it's not great, but you have a 25 millimeter bow with a 40 millimeter icebreaker, so you do have a chance to protect yourself against bow in on any of the larger guns. Then your main thing in these vessels is going to be the side plate. You have a 40 millimeter side plate, which means if you angle correctly, you will be able to bounce things like that Ohio back there or a Yamato. The problem is, though, you have a massive citadel, and if you play at range, which you're going to want to a lot of the time in Venezia, the side plate doesn't protect against plunging fire, and plunging fire will go straight into your citadel and give you a massive, massive hit. So that's one downside of the ship. The other downside is what you're seeing right here. Bow in, SAP, while it still does some damage, does not match up to HE. You have to wait for ships to give you somewhat of a broadside. You saw how little damage we did to the Salem before, and how much just those couple of turrets just did to the Salem there. And that's, I'm sure you know this already because you've probably played the Italian cruisers, but to reemphasize, SAP is going to be fickle. You are going to have to outplay your enemies in order to win with SAP, and you will be rewarded with large damage numbers. Now, Venezia does a great job and gives you the tools to do it. I think it gives you the tools better than any of the other Italian cruisers. The biggest thing it has, beyond its decent speed, 36.6 knots, and its pretty decent maneuverability, rudder shift time down like 11-ish seconds, is going to be the concealment. 10 kilometer concealment with our current build, which is pretty fantastic. That allows you to really control engagements, especially when there isn't destroyers around. You are one of those stealthiest cruisers in the game, and being a heavy cruiser, that allows you to control the engagements. And once you get in that sub 10 kilometer range, then you're really able to angle, but you're going to get focused if there's a lot of ships. So you just kind of have to be prepared for those sorts of scenarios, which just kind of understand it's a knife edge ship, and it's going to provide a lot of fun, a lot of challenge, but you need to be prepared for that. Just kind of internalize that now. Cool. So how's the game going? Well, we are on 3v3 after what's been a pretty decent match so far, right? We took a fairly heavy hit at the beginning. We've run out of our heals. We're down to only 7,000 hits. There's a full health Zhao, a not very healthy Tulsa, and a destroyer of unknown amounts of health to us. So what can we do? Well, we know the destroyer was spotting us, so we're going to try to continue to push in. We know he's in the cap with us because Zhao isn't quite in the area yet. So we are going to try and just hunt and force the advantage here. We're going to get spotted and see if we can find this destroyer. If not, try to make something happen with the Zhao. We can see our teammates off to the left-hand side of this island. It is possible for us to go around right, but thankfully, hello, Mr. Z44, popping up at under 4 kilometers. Let's see how the SAP does against him. Little bit there, here and there, just because he went side on. We saved the back 2 barrels, and those are going to knock him out, picking us up the Confederate there. We are spotted by the Zhao's sonar, which is not great. My hope was we would be able to sort of pincer maneuver the Zhao and try to come up on top. Of course, we don't have a ton of health to spare, and the game is fairly close. In fact, the enemy team is in the lead. They've been holding the objective fairly well, but we still kind of want to use this time to do the pincer maneuver, outweight the sonar. If we can do that, then I don't think the Zhao will be able to torpedo us as easily. Of course, he does have those rear torpedo firing angles, and if we pop around the island, it's not going to be good for us, as whatever our one remaining cruiser is chunking the Zhao with HE and doing a very good job at that. So we're going to begin to push into the Zhao now. Hopefully, as he pushes in, he kind of miscalculates when he needs to fire those torpedoes. If we don't see torpedoes come by, we're going to kind of try to beach ourselves on that little outcropping of ice. That should give us time to dodge the torpedoes, but here come the torpedoes by right now, which clears us the way to go in as his sonar completely falls off, giving us the all clear, assuming we don't get lit up by this Tulsa, to pick up the Zhao kill, and we are going to yoink, I feel like, is what we did there to the Tulsa, but it is what it is. And now we are going to pop our smoke and put up our catapult fighter. The reason we're doing this is we want the advantage on the Tulsa. We need time to reload. That long reload is going to take a minute. And then we're also going to tell our destroyer, hey, hang back, take the cap. That's the smarter play. They are still ahead of us on points. Let's go ahead and try and make sure, guarantee us the win somewhat, because between the 2 cruisers, we should be able to take out a low health Tulsa. Shimakaze probably not going to be able to do that. So let's hedge our bets, just protect against one of us being stupid, and I will sail towards one side of the island, but he's going to come on the other, and that's going to wrap the gaming, guys. That is Venezia. So, should you research the ship? Probably. I'm researching it now. I'm researching this in Z42 at the expense of Vermont, Henri, and one of the aircraft carriers, but it's a fun ship. I would suggest you get researching on it. Guys, if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.